Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody and welcome to a special Saturday episode of Agree to Disagree here on the TNAM radio network, because the news always matters. Yes, you're here at the New American Media. You found us because you're tired of the other stuff. Welcome. Thanks for participating in the conversation. And if you want to do us a favor and do yourself a favor as well, maybe even tell your friends, please go and check out our homepage. That would be thenewamericanmedia.com, or during Ohio State football season, we call it thenewamericanmedia.com, just like they call it the Ohio State University. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. We got, 1,700 subscribers and 320,000 video views. And we're just getting warmed up, but it's a lot of archived content, and you're going to find a lot of good sports coverage over the past few months, especially about the LeBron James story, if you're into that sort of thing. I am into that sort of thing, so deal with it. If you don't like it, fine. We can agree to disagree. You can root for the Pittsburgh Steelers if you want to. You can be a Yankees fan. Just try to love liberty and freedom as well, and I think we're going to get along on our political show. But we should be able to have the conversations whether we agree with everybody on every single topic ever brought up. Nobody's going to agree with everybody on everything. Not everybody's a demon because they don't believe with your Hobby Lobby opinion. It's just chill out, everybody. If Dan Gilbert and LeBron James can get along, the Cavs owner and LeBron, who, they've made plenty of mistakes and they really pissed each other off. But if they can get along, we can get along. So check that out. Subscribe to youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. And then on the bottom right of our YouTube channel, it has our Facebook and our Twitter links. You can find us there, or just on Facebook, do a search for The New American Media and like the page. Or on Twitter, we're at American_media_. So much going on in the world today. What does that go? Now I'm thinking about Aerosmith. Something's wrong with the world today. Don't know what it is. Yeah, living on the edge. Anyhow, so much going on. When we talk about the world events and all of the crazy political madness, we like to bring in Blake Walley. Blake the eccentric Walley is a rabble-rouser. He is an activist. He is a radio host. He is an author. He is a guy that goes and gets footage of things and sees what's going on, whether it's the Bundy Ranch or the RNC event in Nevada where he documented voter fraud, well, anyway, that's on his video. You can check it out. But Blake has been a part of our shows for a while. We have him on the line. Blake, welcome, sir. How you doing today?
Excellent, Brian. How are you?
Living the dream. It was a weird 4-year divorce. We'll call it a separation. As a Cleveland sports fan, it was a separation, or like LeBron said, it was like him going to college. He finally went out and his little Amish rumspringa. You go out as a young man and then figure out, do I want to return to be Amish? So LeBron's rumspringa has ended, and it was a pretty big day yesterday. It was all sports all day, pretty intense, and I will admit to welling up and tearing up quite a few times over the course of the day, reading a very eloquent piece on SportsIllustrated.com where LeBron talked about it, because it really is about more than just basketball. To me, it's always been about inspiring a region, the Rust Belt, with the industry and the manufacturing that's left Ohio and Youngstown and Toledo and Pittsburgh and West Virginia and Detroit. You think about urban centers in Middle America that used to be thriving and have been dealing with hard times. I never viewed it as a basketball story. I mean, hooray, win a championship. Of course, I want that. But this was about something bigger during the course of America's Great Recession, something to inspire you. Like, hell, if Cleveland can do it, if Cleveland can win a championship, we can do anything as a country. It was a much bigger story than that, and I think over the past 4 years, LeBron kind of came around and kind of agreed with those terms. So it was a big day. It definitely had me welling up a few times and shedding tears multiple times throughout the day. I'm not kidding. I'm being honest with you, and I've heard that sentiment echoed from
I appreciate it.
A lot of Clevelanders that I know, a lot of Ohioans that I know, because we're tired of being the butt of the joke, and I think our country's kind of tired of being the butt of the joke. We've had 6 years of a failed administration, failed policies, And I'm just tired of being the punchline. I'm tired of our country screwing damn near everything important up, whether it's Iraq, whether it's our southern border. I mean, go down the line. Obamacare, the NSA spying on us, the police becoming militarized. Like, nothing's going right. It's kind of like the Cavaliers for the past 4 seasons. Yeah, you've had a few good draft picks and you won the lottery and, got to bring in some good young talent, but, not a lot of success over the past 4 years for the Cavs, and not a lot of success for the United States over the past 6 years. They'll say, well, the Dow Jones is 17,000. Really? That's your high watermark? That's your gauge of success? Good luck, because that ain't reality. So, anyway, long story short, you can find all that. I did several sports shows. My father even called into the show, which was pretty cool. Yesterday, it's all on thenewamericanmedia.com. But yeah, big day for me, and I want to jump into the new. Well, hang on, before I do, I just kind of talked nonstop for about 8 minutes. Tell me why I'm a fool for feeling so emotional with yesterday. To finally have somebody stand up for the little guy, to finally have somebody stand up for a beaten down region and sports franchise, and that's what I appreciated the most.
It's amazing how a city is just like waiting for this, needs this championship so bad. I did see an article on that. I don't even remember where I got it from, but that things were actually, things were looking up for Cleveland. They haven't had a championship for 50 years. The old graying city there, who has been a butt of jokes for a number of years. And yes, now you got Johnny Manziel, you got Johnny Football coming to Cleveland.
That's right.
You got the GOP convention. Well, I don't know if that's a huge issue for everybody, but
no, the GOP issue is a huge deal. I think they said $250 million of economic impact. Hell yeah, that's a big deal. And as well as I do, you documented voter fraud where it appeared as though Mitt Romney delegates, Mitt Romney henchmen were out there handing out fake delegate forms, pretending to be, hey, these are the Ron Paul supporters, vote for them, and they were all the Mitt Romney delegates. And then we know what the RNC did down in Tampa to keep Ron Paul from having his speech that he was supposed to have. He earned the right. He had a plurality of 5 states' delegates. He earned the right to have a speech, and instead the RNC replaced him with an empty chair. Literally replaced him with Clint Eastwood in an empty chair, mocking the process. Because don't get me started. I'm no Republican fan by any stretch of the imagination. I certainly think Democrats should be stripped of power almost everywhere across the country. But I can't trust the Republicans either because I think they're in on the rigged game. So I'm not an RNC fan, but that event coming to Cleveland, I mean, Cleveland will then host, let's see, the Super Bowl, the NBA championship, and
Super Bowl. Wait, hold on a second.
And the next presidential nominee. Yeah, they'll be back-to-back Super Bowl champions in 2016.
Okay, all right. Once Johnny Manziel develops and you get Josh Gordon back. And
hey, you know what? Listen.
Realistic. I understand the Cavs are now the favorite to win the championship, and I really hope you do. But I don't. I think the Cleveland Browns, being a little bit realistic here, are still at least a year away. At the very least.
Well, you know what? Here's the maybe.
You really want to beat the Patriots and
we're going to. We damn near beat them last year with a 4-win.
There's still some pretty big teams in the AFC. And you'd have to get by Seattle, San Francisco. There's a lot of really good teams, and to have a rookie quarterback and without Josh Gordon.
No. I'm talking about with Brian Hoyer.
Defense.
No, I'm talking about with Brian Hoyer at quarterback. That defense with Dante Whitner coming back to Cleveland, where he's from, with the draft of Justin Gilbert at corner, Joe Hayden re-signing a huge mega deal to stay in Cleveland, something you don't see a lot. You don't see that happen a lot. I'm telling you, that defense is going to be filthy. And for a 4-win team last year, they were way better than what that record showed after they traded away their running back. And we just signed Ben Tate this year and went out and got a draft pick running back. But no, I mean,
are they 2000 Ravens filthy?
You know
That's
what?
One of the few teams that was able to carry a lousy offense over the top with a just an incredible defense. which of course was your kind of Cleveland Browns team. I hate to rub that in, just coincidence.
Whatever. But listen, for the radio listeners, I just want to clarify one point. We're going to bounce away from sports in just a second here, but I just want to say that Blake is bringing an incredibly pessimistic tone and tempo, and
I just said your Cavaliers are the front runners for the championship, and I hope you do. But I'm saying to be realistic about the Cleveland Browns are probably not going to win the.
I would disagree with that. I think we're going to win it every year.
2 or 3 years from now, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say, yeah, you know what? I have no idea. Yeah, if Johnny Manziel comes along, it's possible.
Here's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that to the listeners that don't understand, Blake and I had a bet last year. We need to clarify this, and all cards on the table, face up. Blake and I had a bet last year whether his Minnesota Vikings were going to defeat my Cleveland Browns. And Blake, I forget, how did that turn out?
And that was but let's
no
keep in mind
filibuster.
Here,
what happened?
Nobody thought that was going to happen.
This guy did.
Even though
the
Vikings, well, but you think they're going to win every game.
You're
you're basically like a 10-year-old when it comes to sports. You think your team is going to win every game.
Kind of.
Even if they're even if the Browns were well, I don't know, it's 4 games out. With 4 games left, you still think they're going to win their last 4?
Yes.
And make the wild card, sneak in.
Hey, listen. I watched.
At some point, it gets right.
Well, hold on. But I watched the 2007 Indians blow a 3-1 lead, damn near insurmountable in a 7-game series. That means that 3 games in a row would have had to be won by the Boston Red Sox to move on to the World Series. And guess what? That's exactly what happened, and the Red Sox won the championship that year, and the year the Indians really should have won it. So, if it can happen with another team, if Art Modell can steal a franchise and take him away from Cleveland to Baltimore,
hold on.
if there's a phantom fumble, that costs us a chance to go the Super Bowl against the Broncos, if John Elway can have a 98-yard miraculous drive, if Michael Jordan can hang in midair, scratch his butt, check his wristwatch, point to somebody in the crowd, and then hit that game-winning shot over Craig Elo, all while paused in midair like a slow-motion Matrix scene. Yeah, if all these things can happen against Cleveland, I think we can win 4 games in a row. I think we can make the playoffs. I think we can get the luck of the ball bouncing the right way. Yeah, absolutely. Every year is the year for us to win a championship, despite the fact it's been since 1964 since any major team in Cleveland has. So anyway, it's been a huge week regarding all of that because it really energizes, revitalizes a region, and me being from Ohio for 25 years.
Sad. You guys are like waiting for a sports championship to like make your legitimate to the rest of the country. Like, here we go. We had a sports franchise win a championship. Now we're now I don't know. Now we're cool again. I have no idea. Not that I'm ripping on it. I'm just saying, and a different look at it. Maybe because I'm not from Cleveland or the area there, but I don't know. It's a little weird. No worries.
Yeah, well,
I understand it. That's a part of the culture, though. But that's a lot of cities around the country that identify with sports a little bit, maybe too much, to the point where they have to, that's their thing. They have to win a championship so they can, be proud. I have no idea.
Well, it is a big deal. Like LeBron said, in Northeast Ohio, nothing is given, everything is earned. And then he says, "I'm coming home." And that's kind of the point. Is
great story though. Right.
Well, it'll be a great story when we get that championship. It's a great beginning it's a great second chapter. There's a lot more story to be written. We get that championship, then it's a great story. Right now, it's tantalizing, but it's also created an issue here. We were talking about the RNC convention, where the Republicans are going to put up their, whoever's going to defeat Hillary. Seriously, let me ask you one question real quick. If the Democrats don't, if they don't put Hillary up, who else is in the running to be president in 2016 for the Democrats? Provided Obama doesn't want to try to sign an executive order saying he can be lifetime president, which I wouldn't put past him. But I'm almost kind of kidding there. But really, is there anybody else in the bullpen for the Democrats?
The only one I've seen thus far is Elizabeth Warren.
And that's because Obama's team is trying to backstab the Clintons and work a deal with Valerie Jarrett behind the scenes, right?
Well, maybe that's part of it. There definitely seems to be a rivalry with the Obamas and Clintons. Allegedly, Bill Clinton just hates Obama, like one of the worst people on earth to him. So, which is pretty dramatic. That's the rumor. So, she was just one of the people that was considered, with somewhat had a chance. So, Obama's going to back somebody other than Clinton. So. So far, that's the only one on the radar. I don't know how realistic that is, but it shows you just how badly off the Democrats are right now.
That being
have a bunch of people.
Yeah, they really don't. But that can
Republicans
happen.
Have, Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's what can happen sometimes when when you've had somebody as a two-term president, and it's just kind of like that's all you know. That's kind of the face of your franchise for so long. Back to sports. I mean, when that's your face of your franchise, I mean, really, they need a new brand. They need to blow up the team and start over. That's what happens in basketball. You lose a good player. You're just not getting. You're not advancing the right way. You trade away the players. You tank for a season or two. You collect high draft picks. You hit reset, you start building again. I mean, the Democrats have to do that, because really this Obama brand has just imploded. It's a horrible brand. It's unconstitutional. It's overreaching. The American people have rejected it wholeheartedly, whatever. They don't want more of that. And, they really have to build their brand up. And I don't know if recycling a 70-year-old Hillary Clinton is what that party needs, but we're going to find out. But the Republicans have a lot in the cupboard. Looking ahead 2 years, like you said, if the Browns could win a Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years, then I'd say you're saying something. Let's look forward to about 2 years, Blake. Who do you see as some of the top front-runners for the RNC convention? Who will be giving that keynote speech in Cleveland, Ohio in 2016 at the RNC convention, do you think? Who are your top 5? Who do you think?
Well, I mean, the old guard is probably going to try to find a way to get Romney or Jeb Bush or something like that. There's going to be a lot of fight. It's going to be another battle, I think. And then hopefully, well, I mean, I don't want to say hopefully, but there should be some other opposition. I'm hoping some good candidates get in there. I'd really like to see Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, maybe even a Trey Gowdy, who I don't know if would actually run for president or vice president, but would make it a fantastic attorney general. I don't know who else has thrown their name in the ring. I heard Marco Rubio today said he could beat Clinton. That's possible. I know there's Bobby Jindal. I don't know if Chris Christie can recover from the scandal going on.
Oh my gosh, a bridge. Yeah. Our president has wiretapped the planet. Somehow that goes unreported, clearly violating our Fourth Amendment rights against due process and privacy. Somehow the mainstream, the dinosaur media wants to just sweep that under the rug, but MSNBC has devoted like breaking news, OJ in a white Bronco slow speed chase down the freeway coverage to 2 lanes of traffic were shut down on a bridge by Christie. What a monster. And it never stops. Like it's comical. Hillary Clinton was asleep at the switch. The president nowhere to be found. The rumors abounding as to where he was when Benghazi was being attacked, as our ambassador was being murdered along with Navy SEALs and others, dragged through the streets after being tortured. Nope. Let's talk about a bridge. So yeah, I think Christie has a chance. It's a bridge. Give me a break. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this happens. But this is why I'm bringing this all together now. This is a news story, and I thought this the other day because who is it? Reince Priebus. He's the guy in charge. He was on with Hugh Hewitt. He's a Cleveland sports fan, actually, but he's a really good commentator. He's a little more neocon for my taste, since I've abandoned the Republican Party for all intents and purposes. I just can't buy their lies anymore. I just don't believe it. I don't even know if I could trust Rand Paul or Ted Cruz at this point. Maybe Cruz. Paul just I don't know. I just don't know if I can buy into it. Well, that's another issue. We'll get to that. But Reince Priebus was on with Hugh Hewitt, and they were talking about selecting Cleveland, and Hugh Hewitt, being a Cleveland guy, really excited, really going into the details of it. But they brought this up, and now this is a story out of Yahoo News. It says, celebrations aside, LeBron James' decision to return to the Cleveland Cavaliers of the NBA could complicate the Republican Party's plan to nominate its presidential contender on Lake Erie's shores in 2016. If James leads his team into postseason play, the GOP could find its preferred June 28th start date for the convention impossible because of the site conflict. Convention planners typically take weeks to customize the space with lights, seats, and the traditional balloon drop from the rafters. Impossible tasks if the Cavaliers go into postseason play. That leaves Republicans looking at their backup date of July 18th. Still, earlier than parties typically nominate their presidential hopeful in recent years, but later than RNC chief Reince Priebus preferred. Quote, all options remain on the table as we're still very early on the negotiation process. RNC spokeswoman Kristen Kukowski said, we're excited about Cleveland, and LeBron's return is further evidence that it's a city on the rise. Priebus insisted his party's convention be scheduled for early summer 2016, roughly 2 months sooner than has become the norm. That would give the GOP's next presidential nominee quicker access to tens of millions of dollars in general election cash. The candidate can be broke, but they're not able to use general election money until after the convention is held. But James' return to the Cavaliers from the Miami Heat could complicate this timeline and perhaps Republican efforts to win the White House. Teams with James have made it to the league finals in 5 of the last 8 seasons, and his move to Cleveland is unlikely to reverse that trend. Let me wrap this up here. Cleveland on Tuesday won the unanimous backing of RNC panel, all but guaranteeing the 2016 presidential pick will accept the party's nomination in perennially hard-fought Ohio, because it is a really big swing state. RNC lawyers are now in negotiations with Cleveland's organizing committee over the exact terms of the bid, including how many weeks of early and exclusive access Republicans can expect in the Cavs arena. If the RNC insists on a preferred date and weeks of early access to hang balloons and bunting, the Cavaliers could be forced to look at other venues for postseason play. My ass, we are. The Cavaliers could be forced to look at other venues for postseason play. Ohio State University's basketball arena in Columbus is one such option. Get out of here, RNC. You are making an enemy out of me real fast. Wrapping up, the full 168-member RNC is expected to finalize the deal next month. Ohio's allure as a political prize proved tempting. The last candidate to win the White House without Ohio was John F. Kennedy, a Democrat, in 1960. And during the 2012 presidential race, President Barack Obama and Republican challenger Mitt Romney made Ohio a central piece of their strategies. Combined, they spent $150 million on television ads and were frequent visitors to the state, which narrowly broke in Obama's favor. So, Blake, this is a situation where if the RNC does not play their cards right, and I don't think they will, 1, because I don't trust them, 2, because I think they're idiots, and 3, because I heard Reince Priebus call it Gund Arena and Jacobs Field. He in that interview, he talked about the previous names of both arenas, not the Quicken Loans Arena and not Progressive Field. He talked about their old names from several years ago.
That makes me ill. Can you say that again? Those 2 arenas. I don't know the arena offhand because I don't follow NBA basketball.
That would be Quicken Loans Arena. That's Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cavs.
All right, right.
Well, he owns Quicken Loans, and it's Quicken Loans Arena. I
realize that, but that's just one of the things I think that I detest about sports these days is when these huge companies or insurance companies. Progressive was the other one. So you've got basically insurance companies owning the rights or banks that own the. I can't stand that. I like the back in the day when they actually had something different or a person's name or somebody that was important to the community, and so they're selling out to these big companies. It's turned into such a circus.
Like the Cubs, Wrigley Field, the chewing gum magnate.
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of the Cubs, I remember maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers, if they're in the playoffs, they could just play all their games on the road. Because speaking of which, the 1984 Chicago Cubs, who have not won a championship and far longer than Cleveland, talk about starving.
No, stop. No, hold on, stop.
And the Cubs.
No, stop it. Stop. Hold on. Pause on 1984. Stop. Hold on.
Had to play their 5th game. Go ahead.
Hold on. Stop for 1 second.
All right.
Let me just pause right there. Chicago has had the Blackhawks. Chicago has had Michael Jordan. Chicago has had
I'm talking about the
has
franchise.
had the Bears. I don't give a damn. They've had something else in that city to hang their hat on. Cleveland's had nothing but heartache and misery. So I just wanted to clarify. So now in 1984, there was a 5-game series. Please continue. Sorry to be so rude, but I had to clarify that.
No worries. Yes, in the playoffs, the Cubs and the Padres were tied 2-2. This was in the National League Championship Series. The Cubs were a favorite. But in the 5th game, they decided that that the Cubs were supposed to play a home game, but they actually had it in San Diego. Do you know why, Brian?
Because George Orwell's prophecy came true in that year?
No, that's a good guess, 1984 reference there. But no, it's because the Cubs did not have stadium lights yet. They were a daytime-only team, and they wanted a prime-time national TV broadcast. So they decided, instead of having the home game, the final deciding Game 5 in Chicago, that they would play in San Diego just to appease the networks. And they ended up having the Cubs lose Game 5 and did not get to go to a chance to, to the World Series. Now, they might not have won anyway. The Detroit Tigers ended up winning, and they had a really good team. They had a 100-win team that year. But, with Kurt Gibson and Jack Morris and the like. But it was still that close, and it was because of that reason. So...
Okay, I was unaware of that. That's some pretty good trivia. That's pretty horrible. And now here's where this is going to get very tricky very quick. You have Reince Priebus, who doesn't know the names of the 2 arenas because it was called the Gateway Complex. And the really cool thing is that you can walk from arena to arena in these skywalks without ever having to get on the ground and cross streets and whatever. It's this kind of huge self-contained area. And Cleveland really is, from everyone I talk to. It's been a while since I've been back, but from everyone I'm talking to, like they're building nice hotels down there. The storefronts aren't empty anymore. They're either being renovated or they're full of stuff. And the old buildings, cool brick buildings, are being turned into lofts and apartments. And it's really an area that's changing and reinventing itself. But that's what he was saying about the complex, is that it's so good. But he was so out of touch. He called it the Q and he called it Jacobs Field. Now that being said, if you want to win Ohio, you damn well better not put an incentive in there to make sure that Ohio is not in the playoffs that year, because that is bad juju. That is bad karma. That is bad karma. You want to make sure that you've pushed it aside so that the championship can be won. The banner will be hanging from the rafters of Quicken Loans Arena for the RNC convention. You don't want to make a scheduling conflict. If you want people to vote for you in 2016, you want to encourage the hometown team to win its championship. You don't want to schedule it 3 weeks earlier because it just seems better. Don't do it, RNC, except I think they're dumb enough to actually do it. Any thoughts on that, Blake? Do you have any...
I don't know. I think it's a little early for them to worry about, what's going to happen.
But it takes years to plan this stuff.
Whether there's playoffs. I hear you. They've got to, I'm sure there's a way that they can work that out so where both it shouldn't conflict with each other. But something they'll have to think about maybe January, February 2016, and might be a little bit early right now to be concerned and worried about that so far.
Yeah, well, I am just saying. I'm just saying.
You're already getting ready. Yes, I know.
Absolutely, I am. No, but I went ahead and I posted that article. If you want to share it with some people, went ahead and...
Oh, I'll get right on it.
Yeah.
Let me alert everybody in my email list.
Yeah. But anyway...
I'm making my phone calls back home. All right.
You're hosting the All-Star game in Minnesota, where you're from, right?
God, they got something. Did they get the Super Bowl, or did they get... I'm going to have to double check.
No, this year.
Did. I'll have to check. Is it Target Field? Are they getting the All-Star game? I don't know. I haven't watched baseball in years.
Yeah, that's where the All-Star game is coming this year.
That was one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. I try to have a healthy balance of, watching sports and doing sports radio shows and talking to my friends about sports and following sports. It's a guy's soap opera. You know, I mean, really, how much more do we need to follow the Palestinians and the Israelis? Like, we get it. They hate each other. Either stop killing each other or just maybe kill everyone and just get it over with. Like, I'm so tired of the fighting. You know, like, I would prefer they just get along and just, shake hands, call it a day, mutter some stuff under your breath, and just let it go. You know, it's got to be these...
People get more involved in that and what's going on in the world, and maybe less, obsessing over who's pitching that night, or one of your 162,000 games, or having to go buy tickets and get, how much of these tickets and getting screwed over at the box office so you can fund a bunch of whiny multimillionaires working for billionaires that are taking big corporate sponsorships, and I don't know. People just obsessed over bread and circus when there's real stories going on in the world, and people don't know anything about it, but they can recite a bunch of useless baseball statistics and worry about athletes who really contribute nothing to the world outside of a little entertainment.
Bread and circus. Exactly.
Exactly. That's social control. That's what they've always used it for, and this is about the worst it'll ever be in the history of this planet, perhaps. And that's kind of a bold statement.
Well, we're not feeding people to lions.
Out of control. ESPN, sports culture in America is way beyond. Is way out of control.
Yeah, but we're not feeding people to lions like they did back in the Coliseum days. I mean, way worse than it's ever been.
Okay, well, at least we're not feeding them to the lion. We're just taking all their money, dumbing them down, creating a new culture, false role models. And all right, I don't know. And then putting people like that's what people need to do or worry about, is like becoming an athlete so they can actually make a good living, because you can't do it anywhere else anymore. And I don't know. It sets so many terrible standards. Not that I'm against it. I do like a little bit of sports here and there, but it's way out of control. It doesn't need to be like this. I don't know. Yeah, I could rant and rave about the culture and how we need to fix that. And partly the reason we're in a lot of the problems that we do have is because because all the men in this country are more worried about sports than they are about the economy and what's going on. If they were just 10% of those sports nuts that were out there were as concerned with the rest of the world, then we could have everything changed by now. We wouldn't, we could create a better world and have a better future going forward.
Sounds like you're running for office. Are you going to be the presidential nominee in 2016?
No, maybe like 2024.
Oh, okay. Like once it's finally expunged from your record. Whatever that is. No, I agree with you to a certain extent. Absolutely. If you're not from a place like Ohio, you totally don't get it. But if you are, it means a lot, and especially for someone that always hears from the parents and the grandparents, oh, they're gonna find a way to screw this up. They never win. I'll tell you, they're gonna find a way to lose this game. Happened again. Told you it was gonna happen. Yeah, I think there's a self-fulfilling prophecy, like some sort of negativity, a negative creep that sets in, where it starts to be this dark storm cloud.
You're right. I was a diehard Cub fan for 15 years, so I know all about that. And the cure was just to stop getting involved in it, just stop watching it, stop torturing myself for 7 months, watching that debacle happen, all the false hopes, all the time I wasted. I'm not regretting it. I'm just saying that, to the future generation out there, don't bother wasting your time. As soon as they want to, change baseball and make it maybe 100 games and make it like 7 innings instead of 9, so it's not some big 3.5-hour marathon. As soon as it's, tickets are reasonably priced and it's not just such a circus, then it's maybe something for kids, or maybe up until you're 25, and then, or for old people, for retirees. I just, we need to change the culture. This isn't the 1940s and 50s anymore, when we had nothing better to do, and it was a different era, and things were great, and you could take your kid to the ball game, and it was reasonable, and it was fun, and you had your heroes. But now it's just evolved into a sickening debacle, and it needs to stop, or at least people need to take a pause and reevaluate the current state of affairs in this country and think about bread and circus and social control and all that good stuff, and maybe get their priorities in a little bit of an order here. Okay, and I'll just stop there.
No, it's fine. Because I think you're right in a certain respect, because something that happened in the news this week also, a story that I followed out here in Los Angeles over the past couple of years. This came in a few days ago. The Los Angeles Dodgers have been held partly liable for the injuries that Giants fan Brian Stowe sustained in an attack on the Dodger Stadium parking lot in 2011, a jury found on Wednesday. The jury said the team must pay millions to cover Stowe's medical bills and other expenses, likely to pay $13.9 million. This was not having the right amount of security out in the parking lot. Fans have their passions, and then idiots act like idiots. And it's one thing to toss some names, some dirty jokes, some you can call Pittsburgh Schittsburg all you want, and that's the cleanest name I've called Pittsburgh in a while, just because of the sporting thing, the Browns and the Steelers. Your city's fine, but a little gentle ribbing, a little we got you that and you go back and forth, and it's supposed to be good natured. And that's what I really hope for on Agree to Disagree, is that even people that have totally different opinions on things, like I can just raise my eyebrows, and you can't see it because it's radio, and I'll just say I totally don't get where you're coming from. I couldn't disagree with you more, like I did when I talked to Pierce Morgan, telling him I couldn't disagree with you any more than I do. I disagree with you completely on the Second Amendment, buddy. But this thing with Brian Stowe, he was beaten. Permanent brain damage from Giants fan. I don't know, Giants fan Brian Stowe beaten into the point where he's permanently ruined. Like, that's not supposed to be the extent of which we watch sports and root for sports. You're supposed to fight and hopefully, what was it, like Patton said, you don't go out there and die for your country. You go out there and make sure that the other son of a bitch dies for his country. And I love that speech in Patton. But the only thing you're supposed to kill for is to protect your liberty and freedom, and you sacrifice your lives, your fortunes, and your sacred honor. You put it all on the line so that your future children, your future grandchildren, for anybody coming up behind you, that they're going to have the same things you had. That's the only reason to fight and die, not for freaking sports, Yeah,
well, it's just another reason why I, have an issue with that, where it's taken over the culture, and yeah, that is a part of it. Now, I am from Minnesota, so our rivalry is with Wisconsin, Green Bay Packers, stuff like that. But it's where I find them annoying, and you get into stupid arguments and stuff like that. It's minor stuff, but you take a look at some of that's mild compared to the rest of the country, which it's just become this sick culture. We all know about the Oakland Raiders or the Philadelphia Eagles, and they used to have a court there. People are afraid to go to these games wearing opposing uniforms, and you get a bunch of drunk people all fired up, and then just hurting each other. That's really they identify with sports so much. That it's becoming violent and unsafe to even be able to just go and enjoy a game anymore. It's just totally out of control. And yeah, that was absolutely disgusting what happened there. And I don't know what to. I don't know how much the Dodgers are supposed to be liable, or how much security they're supposed to have, or what goes on with that. It was certainly a horrible tragedy. Whoever those people were need to be locked up and made to be made an example of, certainly, and should probably have their paychecks garnished for for the rest of their lives to appease what's going on. So I know the Dodgers were a big part of that settlement. So
yeah, I think the
story. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think the two idiots that put this guy into a coma, they're not going to earn $4 million in their lifetime. I heard someone on the radio say, look, these guys, if they ever get out of jail, they're not going to start the next Apple computer. They're not going to start the next Tesla. These people aren't going to have $4 million laying around. This is all up to the Dodgers. These people aren't going to have any money. And it's just a really stupid, violent decision can really set you back kind of forever. And you know, it's that type of stuff we really don't need to be tolerating as a society. It's just unfortunate, you know.
Absolutely.
So, you know, these were just a couple sidebars that turn into much lengthier conversations, but I mean, that's what we normally do here. We get talking and see where the chat takes us. But I mean, there are really two big stories outside of LeBron and Cleveland, because Cleveland had an amazing week, man. The RNC and LeBron. That's a big deal for the community. That is a huge deal, and that's where my roots are. I'm from the suburbs of Cleveland. So it's just a huge week. I just want to take a minute and discuss that.
I understand.
You know,
you're allowed. I totally I get it.
Yeah, I don't ever want to hear "Mistake by the Lake" again. I want to bring championships, put that stuff to bed. You know, have really big events, make Cleveland where people go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I heard that Cedar Point is changing the name of one of their roller coasters to King James. They offered that. They said, if you come back, we're going to name our coaster. We're going to name it after you. And Cedar Point is the best roller coaster park on the planet if you've never been. It's outside of Sandusky.
Hey, did you ever see the We Are the World LeBron when they were trying to get him back, and they had the Cleveland mayor and all of these people sing basically a rendition of We Are the World, except it was begging LeBron to come back?
Yeah, I saw something like that.
They tried to block it out. I know. It's okay. I'm sorry. It's a little. It was really sad at the time, but all right, the groveling to an athlete. All right, just because they need to save Cleveland from being the mistake by the lake that somehow legitimizes everybody in the world if you win the championship. And it's like, hey, see, we're not so bad. I don't know. How is that going to go? I don't know what to say, Brian, but I totally understand. I'm not holding it against you.
I gotcha. We like to mess around because
non-Clevelander. All right, we have to have some disagreements.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand because I have a 100% batting at I'm batting 1,000 against your Vikings when it's head-to-head matchup since we've known each other. So. I mean, I can understand the frustration.
The very improbable win you pulled off, and I had to deal with that. And I was literally in the Las Vegas sports book that very evening, listening to everybody. Everybody was stunned because that was the thing that ruined everybody's parlay was the Cleveland Browns, because everybody knew the Vikings were going to kill them. That was when they were on their third-string quarterback, and they had just traded away their future or their big franchise running back.
Yeah, Trent Richardson.
He wasn't established yet. He was a top pick. Hadn't quite panned out, but he was still considered one of their top players. He was moved to Indianapolis to push them over the top. Ended up, but of course, yeah. So they were like down their two best offensive players. I don't know who else. Yeah, they had a decent defense, but they don't have a really good track record. It was going to be on the road against a hungry Vikings team. I think they were 0-2 or something. They were expected to bounce back and play a nice, easy AFC opposition, the Cleveland Browns, get a first easy win, and then somehow the Browns did pull that one off. Quite a victory, and you guys did it at the very last minute of the game. I can't take anything away from that. It was well done. But yeah, it kind of shocked everybody, and yeah, it was a bad day for me, good day for you, but congratulations.
Thank you. And just to wrap this up, because I did mention this, I pulled up this article and tweeted it out. Cedar Point, the best, and this is the best roller coaster park, is voted by roller coaster enthusiasts all over the globe that go to all of these tallest, fastest, steepest roller coaster places. Cedar Point is consistently. If you haven't been, you need to go.
Yeah, they've got one in Minnesota, actually, at Valley Fair. I think that's owned by the same group, Cedar Point or
Cedar
something
Fair,
like
I think it's called. It says that as many local companies made efforts to lure LeBron James back to Cleveland, Cedar Point took a step nobody expected. The Sandusky Scream Park promised LeBron earlier this week that they would rename one of their 17 roller coasters King James should he choose to return to the Cleveland Cavaliers. When news erupted Friday afternoon that LeBron was coming home, Cedar Point officials posted this vague tweet, quote, "Welcome home, King James. What happens next at Cedar Point? Stay tuned, at Cavs." And then it says Cedar Point spokesperson Brian Edwards tweeted out a photo of the park's skyline with the following message. "Welcome back to Ohio, LeBron James. So which one will it be? Stay tuned. Our decision is coming soon." and that says hashtag I heart Cedar Point.
What do you think of that? Do you think that's weird? Because I might have an issue with that if Valley Fair decided to, our park in Minnesota. I don't want to say I don't live there anymore, but when I do visit, if they named it like Kirby Puckett or
Harmon
Kevin
Killebrew.
Garnett or well, Harmon Killebrew, that's a ways back in the day.
Fran Tarkenton.
Adrian Peterson. I mean, we definitely have some big athletes, but that would just be weird if they were going to name one of the roller coasters that. I can't remember the names of some of the roller coasters, Beast or something like that.
Well, they're saying maybe do that.
Adrian Peterson, number 30, whatever. I forget his uniform number. No worries.
Yeah.
But anyway, come on, Brian. Do you think that's a good or a bad thing overall? Do you? Putting you on the
Cedar, hold on.
Is it kind of like, is that a little embarrassing, or is it like,
all right,
no, I think that's a great idea.
Cedar Point released the following statement shortly before 6 p.m. Friday. Quote, over the past few days, it has been fun to watch the excitement surrounding the potential and now realized return of LeBron James to Cleveland. We stand ready to honor our original tweet. Congratulations, Cleveland. You know what? To take an old roller coaster like the Mean Streak or something, or the Blue Streak, or I don't know.
No, they're not taking the older roller coaster, are they? It's going to be the new one, isn't it? I can't get the old crappy one. We'll just name it after LeBron.
Well, I mean, you're not going to change the name of the Magnum. The Magnum is like one of the best coasters around, and
yeah, I hear ya.
Millennium. Oh man,
where would you say this roller coaster ranks? I don't know. I mean, I know all the rides at Valley Fair if I pulled it up, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, where does that rank with you? I don't know how often you went there.
I went to Cedar Point quite a bit. I've been there.
Do you know this roller coaster?
Well, they haven't picked which one.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so that's what they're trying to figure out. I mean, so
probably not going to be the old rickety wooden one. It's going to be one of the newer ones. I'm sure.
I have no idea. Anyway, we'll see how it pans out. But I do want to shift over here now. One of these days, Blake, maybe we'll go to when we're doing our radio tours across the country, and we're doing our live remotes,
right.
and doing the book signings and stuff.
Huge radio stars.
Yeah. We'll probably do that thing where you get like that front of the line pass at Cedar Point. You get like that golden tee.
Oh yeah, they'll take pictures of it and show like what jerks we are. Be like Obama at the Austin barbecue last week.
That's exactly what I thought of. But he bought everybody else lunch, though. He bought their lunch.
Oh yeah, all right, there you go.
The ones he skipped ahead. He's like, I gotta eat now. So, period.
All right. Well, we'll go on usually when I go back, I always go on a weekday when nobody's there.
Okay. Well, we'll
right.
figure
on a Tuesday,
it out.
Something like that. There you go. Won't have to, not too many people will have to suffer.
Do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, maybe a Browns game, and then part of our speaking tour when this starts to finally roll out this year, as we launch our next show, and a couple big changes are coming in 2014, so stay tuned here at the New American Media. We're talking with Blake the Eccentric Walley. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. He's at Eccentric99. He does a radio show every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. That is over at Freedomizer. Yeah, that's a made-up word. Freedomizer, FREEDOMIZER radio.com. And you can do a search for Eccentric Perspective on his podcast. You can get that show. What else I leave off? Oh, the homepage, if you've never been there, make sure you devour the content there, eccentricperspective.com. Blake, we pretty much have two main stories going on that are non-LeBron James related, which is hard for me to even fathom because everything's about LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers winning a championship. But moving on, two big stories. It's the IRS continuing to prove that they have been breaking the law brazenly, that the Obama administration, the Eric Holder Justice Department, will not dig for truth, will not prosecute lies and destruction of evidence and tampering, and they're actually, it's looking more and more like the Justice Department was helping cover up for the Obama administration. This is just a bad situation when the IRS is being used as a political weapon against its own people. That's when you have a kingdom gone wrong. So we have that story, and then we have this southern border story that is just, it makes me so sick to my stomach. After 9/11, I learned more about the border. I said, what do you mean we don't have a fence and you don't have like a gate to go through? Oh yeah, people just go across. Then really? Then why are you reading my emails and make me take off my shoes on an airplane if you're not going to check all of these people just flooding into our country illegally? This is insane. So I don't know where you want to start, IRS or border.
Well, speaking of that, you're saying about the TSA. Well, it was a bombshell story out of Breitbart yesterday that the TSA was allowing the illegals to fly without a verifiable ID, says the Border Patrol Union. This was, from Breitbart. Legal aliens are being allowed to fly on commercial airliners without valid ID, according to the National Border Patrol Council. The aliens who are getting released on their own recognizance are being allowed to board and travel commercial airlines by simply showing their notice to appear forms. So I guess as long as you have a form that says you're going to be backlogged for several years waiting to go to court so they can decide whether you get to stay in the country or not. As long as you have that form, then you're okay, and you can fly in and stay as long as you want until you're summoned to court. But there's hold on, thousands backlogged. Go ahead.
Why did you take me to Breitbart with all these stupid pop-up ads and stuff?
I know.
You complain about it all the time on your radio show. All the time.
I know.
Breitbart is the worst.
I agree.
Yeah, I want John McEnroe pitching me some. What is he pitching? I don't even care.
I know, it's annoying too. It's like, what is that? Yeah, it's John McEnroe, who I do like. I'm just saying that commercial's annoying.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but please continue. John McEnroe started yelling at me because Breitbart's advertising is stupid. But please continue.
Right. Well, I think that's it. As long as they have a form, this is just it's totally out of control. And I want to dovetail this because there was another bombshell article out of WorldNet Daily here. Mexico and Guatemala fast-track delivery of illegals to the United States. We're even taking this a step further. A lot of these people they're just coming by planes and trains now. Not so much even walking over the border, but you can also do that. But this is a crazy story. Mexico and Guatemala have reached an agreement that is intended to make it easier and safer for Central Americans, including the unaccompanied minors, to enter the United States illegally. And though largely unreported in the mainstream media, the two nations agreed on July 7th, so 5 days ago, in a presidential-level meeting in Mexico to make it legal and safe for Central American immigrants, including unaccompanied minors, to cross Mexico's border with Guatemala and transmit Mexico en route to the U.S. border at the Rio Grande. So to facilitate the program, the Mexican government announced plans to issue a new, quote, regional visitor card that will provide documentation for the Central Americans to remain in Mexico as long as it takes to get to the United States. So our border policy is so lousy that Mexico and Guatemala are working out a deal so that people can that are coming from Central America or whatever, or Guatemala, can just go through Mexico. Here's basically a regional visitor card. Here's your pass, and that's good enough for a week or so until you can get up to the United States. And then if you want to go over there, you can continue. They're actually creating a bureaucracy. They've got a 5-step program here, the Southern Border Program. So Mexico is establishing for the Central American migrants transiting through Mexico a Mexican government-issued regional visitor card. They plan to open 10 new border crossing checkpoints on the border with Guatemala and 2 more on the border with Belize to function as comprehensive care centers for border transit. Number 3, Mexico has decided to expand the country with 5 medical care units to give medical aid and temporary shelter to Central American migrants transiting through Mexico, with special attention to give to unaccompanied minors. Number 4, they created a new office for the coordination of comprehensive social services for migrants on the southern border to provide humanitarian care and assistance to the migrants crossing the border. Lastly, Mexico has pledged to continue playing an active role working with international organizations to participate in conferences organized to promote legal immigration, including continued sponsorship of forums including Mexico's National Conference on Migration. I mean, this is just totally outrageous. Let me finish this article. Sorry.
Finish that country, Blake. No. Just finish that country. Because we're finished too. This is insane.
Yeah, they're trying to finish off America right now. The flood of illegal alien immigrants from Central America, especially children, has spiked in recent months. The U.S. government is already transporting them to multiple other locations to house them. Critics of the U.S. president say his announcement of a policy to defer deportation actions against children has sent a message to Central America that if children can reach the United States, they not only will face no punishment, but will be granted housing, medical, education, and even legal benefits. I mean, totally it's so out of control, and it's such an open, it's open now. It's become such a joke in the policy, and they know that they're not doing anything, that the Mexico and Guatemala are actually, you're creating new bureaucracies to help these illegal immigrants make it to the United States. And what is being done about it? Absolutely nothing. You've got the president out trying to, I think, wants to get $3.7 billion, and it's still not done anything. He hasn't even visited the border. I mean, totally out of control. They are basically just opening the door completely wide open and saying, hey, if you can get here, hey, you're welcome to be here. Hey, we'll give you some papers. You'll have to meet it in court. You'll have to come and show up in a court someday. But there's so many hundreds of thousands backlogged that it could be, years at the very least, and 90% of them don't show up. I mean, it's just totally lawless, out of control, and it's a crisis. Maybe I don't know. One of the biggest crises we've ever seen. Maybe. I mean, this could actually end the country as we know it, and still nothing is being done.
Now, do you think it would be different if a private company, like let's just say Cedar Point, allowed tens of thousands of undocumented minors to just show up and expect, I want to go on the rides. I want someone to feed me. You know what? I need to find a shower real quick. Like, that's not what it exists for, and you need to pay your admission at the door. And I don't know. I mean, you'll have some people say, well, you were born in America. This used to be Mexican land. And you'll hear these arguments, and you just say, that's not today. None of that's today. I didn't do any of that stuff. This is today.
Argument, yeah.
I'm not having that argument with people. But you don't show up to Cedar Point without money, demand showers, demand food, and not find out who keeps sending people to the theme park, littering it all up, bringing disease in, getting everybody sick, and then you give them a free pass to the concession stand. But in the meantime, you get people are waiting in line for the rides, and when they get there, they go, you know what? I'm gonna need another $5 from you. Why? Well, a whole bunch of people flood in. We got to pay for them. Well, why don't you charge them? They don't have any money. We got to get it from you. Well, I saved up for like a couple months to make sure I could bring my family here. You know what? 5 times 4, I need $20 now. That's what our country is being told to do by the progressives and the Democrats. And it's not like John Boehner's really standing up and doing much anything to stop it. This is something that's...
Or Rick Perry, yeah. They put up a little bit of work, they put up a few words, that's just like, come on.
Well, I was going to say,
no,
Rick Perry is calling... Rick Perry is pretty pissed off. I watched him for about an hour on Hannity, where Hannity was up in the copter where he was flying along the border, and Rick Perry was showing certain areas of the border where it's 300-foot cliffs, and there's no place where you should build a fence. Whatever, and Hannity even came away saying what Ben Swan said when he was on our show, just that a fence isn't the answer the whole way across. I'm like, well then wherever it's valid, build that fence. Fine, I don't get it, but I'll trust the people that have been there. At least benefit of the doubt, build it where you can. But I think Rick Perry is coming off a lot better than the president on this. I think Rick Perry is emerging as one of those people that might be giving a speech in Cleveland in 2016 with the RNC convention, because his state is booming economically, and he's flat out calling for the National Guard to be mobilized on the southern border and not let other people into this country. But you see it from the religious groups. You see it during the interviews where they're trying to say it's a humanitarian crisis. Well, we have to let them in. We don't. We don't.
Yeah, they're not refugees. I mean,
that's
they
what
come
they're
from
claiming.
A lot of
that's what they're claiming.
Areas, but it's been like that. It's not like it's just a huge war broke out and we have refugees and we're trying to save children. I mean, this is a political weapon. We were talking earlier about the Democrats not having anybody except for Hillary Clinton or this long shot at Elizabeth Warren. If you need to rebrand, as you were saying, they might not need to rebrand. They just have to find a group of people that will actually keep them in power. And here you go. And everybody knows it. Because this is it'd be nice if it wasn't a political issue. If we had all of our stuff together here in this country, and the economy was great, and we had a labor shortage, and our crime was really low, and this was just a great booming golden age in America. And yeah, then we could maybe take a bunch of refugees and give them better lives, and we could be these great humanitarians. That would be one thing. And if we had the resources to take care of them and acclimate them to a new culture, and that would be one thing. But that is not what's going on at all. So I mean, yeah, there are ulterior motives here, and absolutely nothing is being done. Go ahead.
No, I'm on Breitbart again.
Oh, okay.
Freaking ads. Yeah, nothing is being done, and that's the thing. It's not like you just break in and it's paradise. We have our own sets of problems. We have a lot of problems in this country that we have to sort through.
Yeah, even Jesse Jackson was speaking out against this, and he's from Chicago. He knows that there's a lot of people in this country that aren't getting help. Yeah, we've got homeless all over, and veterans that are in dire need of stuff, and children and broken families and poverty all over this country. So what are we doing? We're going to take another $3.7 billion so we can harbor a whole bunch of these people. And I mean, how is that even going to help? They were making points about this as a sheriff in Arizona. I mean, if they're not going to secure the border, then what good is spending all that money or giving the government all that money? Because all they're doing is just opening the door even further. That's just going to make more people want to come to the country. And if they're not going to shut down the border, then it's a huge waste of time and resources. So they actually got rejected. Congress has said no, they're not going to give this money. And even if you're pissing off Jesse Jackson, I mean, the black community's outrage now. I mean, there's probably some unintended consequences here that they maybe didn't see. That's going to hurt them even worse. Maybe they thought this was this is a very desperate thing that they're trying to pull off right now. And these are the unintended consequences of that. And there's just many more. I mean, there's just constantly just bombshell stories every single day on the border situation, and with no end in sight whatsoever.
It is really bad, and that's, man, I'm telling you, this Breitbart site is just terrible. I'm ready to write them a nice stiff letter. But this is here. It says, on Friday's Laura Ingraham show, Elaine, who's a black woman from Baltimore, expressed her outrage that President Barack Obama is putting the interests of illegal immigrant children above those of American citizens. Though the number of illegal immigrant children unlawfully entering the country has spiked since Obama unilaterally enacted his temporary amnesty program in 2012, the White House has said the primary cause of the border crisis is the rampant gang violence in Central America. Quote, I'm living a nightmare. My whole neighborhood is so violent. There's so much crime, she said. I have gangs everywhere here in Baltimore. I can't let my daughter ride her bicycle outside. I can't do anything, Laura. I'm trapped here. Elaine told Ingraham that she listens to House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Obama and feels that nobody is saying a word while spending billions of dollars taking care of foreigners who are unlawfully in the country. Quote, well, what about my neighborhood? You don't have to do it in Beverly Hills, but in the inner cities, where we are suffering, my children cannot play outside. I cannot take out my trash without locking the door. It's awful. Who's going to give us anything? Where can I get asylum? Where can I get refugee status? I don't know what I can do. Nobody cares what happens to my children. The unemployment rate for black Americans is nearly double that of whites. In the amnesty legislation favored by Obama and the bipartisan permanent political class would hurt black Americans the most by flooding the labor market with more cheap labor. That is why Civil Rights Commissioner Peter Kirsanow wrote the Congressional Black Caucus to urge them to vote against amnesty bills that would make it more difficult for black Americans to enter the middle class. Quote, giving amnesty to illegal immigrants would only exacerbate this problem facing low-skilled men who are disproportionately African American, Kirsanow concluded. I mean, that's exactly what you were saying. You're saying that the unintended consequences, and there are people across this country, especially blacks in this country, are looking at this and saying, why are you working with them and not with us? And this brings me to my next piece here. Because, well, as soon as I find it. Actually, no, I can't find it. That's fantastic. Wait. Yep, here it is. This is somebody else. This one would be Bernadette Lancelin, Houston woman. Came out today in intense heat to protest a plan to house thousands of illegal alien children, many of them are teenagers and some with communicable diseases, in a local middle school that have been closed due to funding issues. Yeah, get a load of that. They close a school because they don't have funding, and then they open it to throw a bunch of diseased illegal immigrants in there. Okay, you found money for that, but you don't have the money to help educate the children that live in this community legally? You got to be out of your mind. So let's hear it right from her mouth. This is, what's her name? Bernadette Lancelin. In her words,
this is where officials with the Department of Homeland Security toured the old Terrell Middle School, considering it to possibly be a holding location for an unknown number of illegal immigrant children. No decision has been made yet for this location, but one resident who said her kids have gone without nothing, have had nothing for years, she says she is furious.
It's not right. Now billions of dollars want to be borrowed from the White House to help feed and house them. Where the kids here in our country? Not just in this neighborhood, but in our country. All these kids, really? Why can't they go back? I'm sorry that the parents are in poor living conditions or surroundings or whatever's going on out there. I don't care. I care about what's going on right here in my own backyard, my neighborhood. Am I the only one in this community that's out here that watches the news this morning? Oh, my God. I feel alone right now in this, and I'm very saddened by it.
She feels alone, and she's saddened by it. And it doesn't make a lick of sense to me, Blake. Like, this is really, 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 really bad. It's hard to quantify the level of scandals, impeachable offenses, I'm just going to call them. I'm tired of being told I'm an extremist who expects more out of my government. Well, you can't say impeachment. You're just an extremist. No, I think it's extreme to blatantly violate the Fourth Amendment and spy on your citizens. No, I think that's pretty extreme and impeachable. Don't tell me I'm on the fringe for actually saying, no, I think that's pretty important. This bugs the hell out of me, Blake.
I mean, it just gets, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a breath here and gauge my words.
I mean, it gets worse. I mean, these people are like even above the law. I've seen two stories this week with mothers that have come out. There's one that's got their kids were both killed by illegal immigrants that were both convicted of
aliens, not immigrants.
Sorry, illegal aliens that have been in this country for many years and been convicted of several crimes. And yet they're not kicked out of the country. I mean, it is totally out of control how they would allow this to happen. And I mean, you get these sheriffs are coming out there, or the Arpaio, and there's another one out of Arizona, Jason Abu or something. Talking about how these all these illegal aliens, they're arresting them multiple times. They're being released. They come right back. I mean, there's no consequences. They're not enforcing any laws. So, I mean, it's like they want them here. I mean, obviously they want them here, and so we're just trying to figure out why. What is the motive here? Are they just trying to, break the country and then offer the solution, which is going to be, their agenda, what they want to see happen with the country, or is it just getting this whole new voting block in? And everybody is seeing that. nobody's going to argue that these people are going to want a bunch of since they're going to be dependent and we don't have jobs, we don't have anywhere to put them. Yeah, they're going to, of course, vote for the people that are going to allow them to stay here and give them handouts. So, yeah, here's your new voting block. So, yeah, the Democrats don't have to necessarily worry about, who are they going to have running for president. They're going to, have a voting block that will vote them in no matter what. But then, of course, now you have this new twist we were just talking about, the unintended consequences of if you're going to alienate the other community that's been loyal to you. Yes. Who's been loyal to you. I mean, if you're losing Jesse Jackson, if you're losing some of these other ladies you were just playing the audio there, or if you're losing MSNBC, these are the unintended consequences. Now I don't even know where to begin. There's just so many different angles on this. It's overwhelming. And what is Obama doing about it? How arrogant is it? He was just in Texas. Two major cities, Dallas and Austin, he was that close to the border, and he did not visit. Instead, was out getting fundraising.
Doing a photo op, shooting pool and drinking beer with Hickenlooper over in Colorado. That's important, but actually touring the border is not important. And this is the question that we go back and forth on. I hear a lot of people asking this, whether it's Alex Jones or Bill O'Reilly, or go across the entire landscape of media. Is this president completely incompetent, or is he working with the bad guys? Is he an enemy to the state, or is he completely in over his head and has no idea what's going on, and he's so insulated in his political bubble that his advisors, the Valerie Jarretts and the people close to him, don't let him get the real scoop of just how much of a joke this presidency is? Is it intentional, or is it incompetent? Either way, it's cause for removal. And this is my message, just to reiterate. Anyone that's saying you cannot mention impeachment without, that would just be a distraction. How in the world does removing a dangerous political figure from office become a distraction, as opposed to the unfortunate, sad, depressing thing that we have to do to save this country? That's what it is. I don't take pride and joy in saying that 6 years in that it's time to do this. We have to jettison this cargo before it destroys the entire ship. That's where we're at. And that's my question to you, Blake. Is this the intentional Cloward and Piven strategy that Barack Obama grew up learning from the socialists, the Marxists, the progressives in the 60s, the radicals like the Bill Ayers that were bombing places, the local terrorists? You look at the worldview that the United States need to be knocked down a few pegs. In your opinion, is this something Barack Obama is doing intentionally, and he's trying to play coy and play dumb and get away with? Or do you think he's just totally in over his head because he was never qualified for this job to begin with?
No, I think if he was incompetent and over his head, he would at least listen to the advisors and people around him. I do think this is by design, absolutely, and that's why he's exactly, playing stupid right now, or not wanting to go visit the border, just playing these little games, not doing anything about it. And trying to, get money, and then he's out on fundraisers. No, I absolutely do think this is by design. If this wasn't by design, I would like him to come out and say, hey, I know there's a lot of, people talking about Cloward and Piven. If he was out and he explained to the American people what's going on, explain this, make our worries go away, but he's not doing anything of the sort. Yes, he's fundraising, doing photo ops. He's not doing his job. It's like he's not. This is totally unacceptable for him as the president. So I think this is a very desperate maneuver. They are trying to knock the country down a few pegs, perhaps reinvent it. Yeah, crash the system just like Cloward and Piven, rebuild it in the thing that they want. And and it's very dangerous, as you said. It's just like, it's like a captain out of control. He's putting you on a collision course for an iceberg, and do you want to have what time do you have a mutiny? Do you say, okay, well, does he know what he's doing? Is he incompetent, but he just seems aloof?
Well, if you're
doing anything,
if you're talking about a mutiny,
right.
if you're talking about a mutiny, let me jump to this because we only have a couple more minutes here, Blake. This is from San Diego's news source ABC 10. Breaking video shows an organized attack on our border from Mexico. Let me just play this and we'll go over it. What you have here, you have Border Patrol up at the top. There's like this this incline. It's like a concrete incline. And I'm counting 10, 20, 30, 40, a lot of people from Mexico up here challenging and throwing rocks and confronting the U.S. Border Patrol. Border Patrol has weapons aimed, maybe about 20 of them up at the top of this incline, and it looks like a riot.
Well, new tonight, 10 News uncovered this new video of an angry mob armed with rocks confronting the Border Patrol.
There's hundreds. Okay, now in this shot, there's hundreds of them. Hundreds of these people from Mexico.
Agents tell 10 News this is the first time this has ever happened. And
watching this video, it looks like an invasion.
As 10 News reporter Dan Haggerty shows us, they're concerned it may have been just a dry run for a future ambush. Dan.
Yeah, Steve, it happened close to where we are now, just south of the Las Americas Mall. You see the border agents back there by the wall right now, and they admitted that if this was organized, the group could organize again. This is how close it was to an all-out assault. Hundreds of Mexicans storming the border wall last Sunday and recording the whole thing. The first organized attack agents have seen here.
They were combative, throwing rocks and bottles and flashing gang signs and threatening agents.
Assistant Chief Patrol Pete Vasquez told me the rioters clearly documented this for a reason. Agents just aren't sure exactly why.
We would think if they were going to use it for propaganda, somebody would have stepped forward to maybe lay claim to the video, which no one has done yet.
Hey, vámonos! This picture, hundreds and hundreds of people.
So agents have been using the footage posted to a Mexican blog site to their advantage, checking out every clip and everyone involved. A man holding a child, a woman with one leg straggling behind, others who look like they definitely showed up ready for a fight. A mix of people agents say implies someone brought them together.
We can kind of see there's one gentleman that at the beginning of the video seems well-dressed, kind of leading the event.
An event that forced agents to use pepper spray, put up helicopters, and prepare for worse than rocks and bottles. So what's the point? What are they doing? Who are these guys?
We're not sure at this time. We're still analyzing the video and trying to gather any information that we can.
So this is what it's all about, Blake. This is really bad news. This isn't just about some children who are going through a hard time and we should try to take them in as a country. There are gangs. They are catching people from Pakistan. They're catching people from Iraq. They're catching people from Afghanistan. Did I say Afghanistan? Pakistan, Afghanistan, wherever. They're coming in from every country, not just Guatemala, Honduras, and Ecuador, and El Salvador. This is absolutely out of control, Blake.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think this is absolutely done by design, because you would think anybody else would do this. Who else would think that this is a good idea unless you had an ulterior motive for this? I mean, like I said, I'd love to just have Obama. Where is he? Why isn't he making a speech and explaining the situation here? What is he doing about it? So he's just going to try to run out the clock, I guess. I don't really know. And then he has the audacity to ask for $3.7 billion, and he's not even trying to secure the border. I mean, there's so many just unanswered questions going on, and I don't know where he's at. Do you know where he's at today, Brian? Is he golfing? What is he doing? Is he out making speeches? Is he out fundraising? I don't know with this guy anymore. He's clearly out of control. Whether he's doing it or whether somebody behind him is pulling his strings, this has to stop before it leads to the end of this country. And yes, now they're getting violent people. They're getting all kinds of. They've shown no track record of all of enforcing the laws or doing anything if these people break the laws. They've just released. They have no policies in place, and we don't know. We're bringing all kinds of these gang members, and these people that have diseases coming in, and they're just putting them on a backlog. They're just releasing them into the country, giving them tickets and letting them go, and it's all on the taxpayer's dime. On top of it, we're all paying for this. I mean, it's totally outraged. Everybody should be just outraged by what's going on. The only person who's not is Obama.
Well, we could talk about this, and unfortunately I think we're going to talk about this for weeks and weeks because I don't see an end in sight. But since we only have another minute or two and you got to bounce, we got to talk about the IRS real quick.
Absolutely.
One
thing I wanted to mention quickly before we jump was that speaking of other, Democrats are starting to fall away. A lot of them aren't even being able to seen with Obama anymore. They're calling him radioactive and not showing up at their own fundraisers when Obama's there to support them. So people are distancing themselves from Obama. They know a lot of people are seeing how unpopular he is. And even the Democrats out there don't want to be seen with him because they're afraid they're not going to get reelected this November. So, things are it's bad, but there's also like a silver lining. There's some good news as well. But yes, the IRS is certainly another big story, and there's been some developments in this week. Looking at Politico right now, looks like there was a smoking gun, as referred to by Daryl Issa. Lois Lerner was cautioning against email chatter. So, yes, her hard drive magically crashes, which we found out, and there's a lot of emails lost, but apparently they were able to find one where she was expressing her concern about her privacy and including a in-house communication system. She was wondering if that was going to be able, if people were actually
like an instant messenger, to in her department.
Right. She was concerned about this. She was cautioning folks about email, about what you put on there, and how we have had several occasions where Congress has asked for emails, and there has been electronic search for responsive emails. So we need to be cautious about what you're saying. And then, so she admitted that. Yes, she needs to be cautious about what she's doing and saying. And then, of course, her hard drive crashes, and all the emails that we want to look at are all missing, perhaps leading to the White House. So,
perhaps leading to the White House. Of course it is. That's all speculation. I don't have that evidence. And
we can make it say that. If they're going to destroy evidence, then as far as I'm concerned, we can make up whatever story we want as long as it's plausible. So, of course, if it was leading up to the White House and it could bring down the president, then absolutely they have every reason to try to destroy the evidence. So I think it's fair from our angle to say that that's probably what it is. And if not, then they should produce it.
And actually, when Lois Lerner asked, is this something that can be archived? Is this stuff that you can find? She was told no, and her reply was perfect. Perfect was what she said. Right. That was the reply.
Yes.
Oh, it's perfect that your criminal act.
Yes. Ooh, they can't find it. They can't search it.
Perfect.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah, you could see her like Mr. Burns or somebody from, putting her fingers together. Perfect. Can't wait to pass it to find out what's in it. Perfect. If you like your plan, you can keep it. Perfect. Our southern border secure. We need comprehensive immigration. Perfect. I am telling you, like the monsters running this country have just got me out of my mind. It is so hard to follow. Steve Stockman feels the same. I just want to play this quick clip.
Congressman Steve Stockman is now calling on Congress to arrest Ms. Lerner.
Good.
He's arguing that the Obama administration will not prosecute her.
True.
So it's up to Congress to act.
True.
Texas Congressman Steve Stockman joins us now. He
also
filed his resolution to arrest Lois Lerner just yesterday. Congressman, good to see you. So you want the Sergeant of Arms of the U.S. Congress to go knock on her door, pick her up, and throw her in, I guess, a D.C. jail?
Yeah, this is just the same as if you have a contempt citation in a court of law where you
contempt, as Eric Holder was found in contempt, by the way.
Don't obey, and the judge can order you arrested. Congress looks inept when we don't carry through. We issued a contempt order against her, and we need to act upon it. And this is a privileged motion. This is something even John Boehner, if our understanding is correct, he can't even stop.
How would this happen? I mean, would you have to just get votes from a majority in the House for this to happen, or how would it happen?
Yeah, it would be a simple majority in the House because it is a House issue of contempt, and the Senate and the President can't veto it or interfere. And under the orders of the House, she would be arrested and brought to a jail. She has to respond.
Anyway, you get the point. It's about time, in my opinion. It's about time.
Right. And, well, there's also been another last development in the IRS. There's a federal judge has ordered
a federal George, like George Washington.
Federal George. That'd be nice if we could bring him and Thomas Jefferson back to.
I think they would be challenging people. I think they would be challenging people to duels at this point. You, sir, I'd like taking off white gloves and smacking him in the face. You, sir, I challenge you to a duel. I am sick of your shit. Like, could you imagine? It
would be pretty.
If they came back right now,
awesome.
Could you even imagine how they would be putting up with this crap? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so U.S. District Judge Emmett G. Sullivan has given the IRS 1 month to provide an explanation. He says, I'm going to hold tight to that August 10th declaration to explain explain how the IRS lost these countless other emails to and from Lerner. So, and here's what Judge Andrew Napolitano was on Neil Cavuto saying, it's getting interesting because while Congress is attempting to get information from Lois Lerner and her colleagues at the IRS about the so-called missing and crashed emails, 2 federal judges are doing so as well, and they have the tools that Congress doesn't have. They have the ability to lock people up when they mislead, lie to the court, or disobey orders. So let's see. He says, just this afternoon, I think this was from yesterday, a federal judge, Emmett Sullivan, said to the IRS, you've got 30 days. I want certifications under oath, and every time you have a conversation about emails you can't find, it's going to be in the presence of another federal judge, and he is going to scrutinize everything you say. So, yes, there are developments. They can't run from the law forever. So, so exciting developments. And, yes, that was pretty funny. I liked Steve Stockman's, I think he had an interesting name for it. If I can, I don't know if I can find it. He called the, on Thursday, Steve Stockman asked the NSA to turn over Lerner's missing emails and introduced the Dog Ate My Tax Receipts Act, and filed the motion to push the congressional police to arrest Lerner for contempt of Congress. So pretty cool developments. We'll see. Yes, it's continuing to get crazy. I'm sure next week will be just as crazy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what next week's news brings as well. Yeah, man, it just never stops. I just I don't take joy. I don't have joy in this. This doesn't make me happy to have to deal with this stuff at all. I don't like that my government is this out of control and inept. I don't like that we're being taken down a few pegs. This is just not right. Across the board, it's not right. And like I said, I bailed on the Republicans. You bailed on the Democrats. A Democrat-Republican choice it's just a puppet show. It's just a dog and pony show. It's just a follow the ball in the walnut shells or whatever. And where to go? This hand, that hand, or the other. And if you just go Republican, Democrat, it's always under the other one. The way to fix this. And I don't really know how we pull ourselves out of this, but you just have to look at the facts of the past few years and see that this country is falling to hell, and we really need to do something to stop it. It's past time of giving this guy a chance. Well, he inherited a mess. I could even agree with some of that stuff. Give him a chance. He inherited kind of a mess in a recession. Okay, 6 years in, we know where he's going, and this is bad. We're a laughingstock around the globe, and we've never been less secure. So, it's time to go another direction, and unfortunately, Blake, we have to go another direction now, but we'll bring you back in the next few weeks, as always, talking about the latest craziness. But like I said before, make sure you check out Blake's show every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 Pacific on freedomizerradio.com, and follow him on Twitter at eccentric99. That's all I got, man. You have any final words? Wrap this up, put a neat little bow on it, give us some words of encouragement and wisdom. Not really, but encouragement and wisdom is not your strong suit. No, there are like I said, there's positive developments as well as bad. So it's at the same time. So it's a really exciting time to be involved and keep an eye on the news cycle, our country, the future. It's a very exciting time in our nation's history. So get involved. And that's really all I've got to say.
Get
so
involved in
get involved. Yeah, you don't want to be. Yeah, people are going to ask you in the future, what did you do during this great time? I was watching sports, and you want to be out on the front lines. We have a country to save and a big bright future if we all fight for it. So
LeBron's got 32 triple-doubles in the 14-15 season, and rookie Andrew Wiggins was Rookie of the Year but with 7.1 rebounds to go along with his 18 points per game. Cinderella story. I mean, like, that's
pitching tonight for the Indians. Oh my God, his ERA is 3.85 at home. And
exactly.
Right.
Some of that is okay to decompress and like take a break from politics, but it's the politics and it's the daily events that really are the life and death decisions that we have to be prepared for in this country. So yeah, man, we'll try to balance our sports and our politics. Sometimes as a Cleveland fan, I don't know which one gets me more infuriated, the sports or the politics. But it's been a good week for Cleveland, good week for Ohio, great week for Ohio. Horrible week for our nation. We've got to get this border under control ASAP, and I don't know if this is the president that can do it, because you get the impression it's what he wants. But we'll stay on top of this and make sure you, like I said, you follow Blake on Twitter at Eccentric99. He'll be tweeting out all the important stories that you may have seen, you may have not seen. Add them to your news feed and regularly see what Blake's up to. He finds good content all the time. So, hey man, I'll let you go for today. Appreciate your time. We'll be talking again soon.
No problem, Ryan. Great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. It really has been a hell of a week. A lot of stuff going on, as I mentioned. Thank you for listening to the sports intro. It's a big deal to me, but it is an even bigger deal because I think it's a microcosm, macrocosm. This can be symbolic. This is where we're from. We need to make it better. Your local community. LeBron going back to Akron to play for the Cavs, to help Akron, to help Cleveland, to help Ohio, to bring a championship there because it means so much. In your local community, do something. In your local state, do something. In your nation, do something. And, the only way to have a grasp of what's going on, you just have to have a border where you're checking what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, you just don't know what's going on. You don't let your kids out for prom, or you let them stay out all night without any plans or without checking in, you just don't let things just happen how they're going to be in a borderless society. You got to take care of things, and there are a lot of people that want to do bad stuff. You look at what's going on in the Middle East right now. There's a lot of people that just love killing. I don't get it. I'm not a fan of killing. I fortunately have not had to kill a human in my lifetime. It would be a great thing if I could live the rest of my life and never have to kill a human being. But there are people in the military and our border patrol that are being harassed, having bottles and rocks thrown at them. Look at that guy, the Giants fan beaten by 2 Dodger fans into permanent brain damage. Oh, a punch can't do anything, a rock can't do anything, a bottle can't. Yes, it can. It can cause permanent brain damage. And there's going to be violence on the southern border, more so. You're finding dead bodies of illegal alien children that had no legal right to be in the country all over Texas. I was watching ranchers get interviewed. They're finding bodies and skeleton remains after they're picked dry from all the rodents and the vultures and the birds and stuff. This is not good. What's happening at all? We need to gain control of this, and we need to have a system that makes sense. Don't use that phrase, comprehensive. You can't control a border. Don't tell me you can be in charge of anything else. Don't tell me if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, period. If you're going to lie to me, I actually lost my doctor. I lost my health insurance plan. I'm not saving $2,500 a year. I'm paying an extra $1,200 every year. It's insane. Everything's a lie. And when you lose credibility, you're done. You're fired. You're done. You're done. You've committed fraud against me. You've lied against me. You're actually pushing interests that are going to harm this country. And that's directed to the Obama administration. It's obvious to me. And it should be obvious to you. Put the George W. Bush conversation on the side. You cannot respond with that. Deal with this today. Is this bad that the Fourth Amendment that says your GPS location, that says your effects and your belongings, that your text messages that you send, that the emails that you send, that the pictures that you send, that the conversations you have on the telephone, that these things are ours and they're not supposed to be snooped on? This is a huge deal, the Fourth Amendment. The Barack Obama administration and the NSA completely violating one of the key components of this country. And that's the right to privacy, and you're not supposed to be shaken down, and you're not supposed to find out everybody's donor lists to then go target them and try to harass them with the IRS. That's exactly what's going on here. I mean, this government has been taken over by a corrupt criminal element, a corrupt regime, and it's way out of line. So once again, don't tell me that if I'm going to have an impeachment conversation that I'm out of line. No, sir. No, ma'am. You are out of line. And I've had it. I'm speaking out. I have one life to live. I think that's a soap opera or something. I prefer my soap operas to be sports. But anyway, this is the only life I'm guaranteed of. I have today. I have this moment. You know, I can't speak to an hour from now, a decade from now, 100 years from now. I have this. And I see some stuff going on that needs to be changed, and I'm going to say it. And I'm not going to be silenced. I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm over it. You know, I think everybody has the right to live a life, to be free and to be left alone. You know, how many of the people flooding the border are here to have that life versus trying to get free stuff, trying to get free health care, trying to get free education, trying to get free housing subsidies, trying to get free WIC cards and food stamps? You can't do that. You know, there are quite a few people in this country who make it a lifetime goal to try to scam the system out of as much as possible. And I'm not saying all these kids are. Some of them are too young to understand the difference. I get that. What are the motives of the parents? They're looking to cash a lottery check? Or really for a better life? Because in a better life, you're contributing more than you're taking. We have enough people in this country here, legally, that are not contributing more than they're taking. And that's why we have $17 trillion on a credit card. That's why we have so many broken families and children not being raised properly. Not the correct, proper parental and familial support system in place to raise a child right, so that when that child grows up, they are raising their children right. We have a lot of stuff that's broken. It's a cyclical, broken system, and it needs to stop. We have our own problems here. We're not as rich as you think we are. We don't have what you think we have. Detroit goes bankrupt. I mean, look across this country. They're turning off the water on people in Detroit because nobody's paying their bill. We don't even have running water in America in some places. I mean, give me a break. You know, it's really hard just to get by in this country. And you got to have control of the border to do that. And like I said, if this president isn't doing it intentionally, which I think he is, give him the benefit of the doubt. Say that he's just incompetent. I'm sorry. If you're incompetent, you deserve to be fired, which is why I bring up impeachment. So you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. Leave your comments below. Make sure you check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Bottom right of that is our Twitter feed. You can click on that and follow us at American_media_. Do that now at American_media_. And click on our Facebook page. You can also do a search for The New American Media with spaces in between and like our Facebook page. So you can do that as well. Please subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. My name is Brian Engelman, signing out for the TNAM Radio Network. I appreciate you. I love you. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.